Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, hello. If you are returning, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate you. So today we're going to be yet again catching up with another person that I have already kind of covered on this channel, but I covered them like a year ago, and so some things happened that made me want to go back and see like what they're doing, and so that's what we're doing. Today we're going to be talking about Jaebae again. If you don't, oh my god, I have hair. There we go. If you don't know who Jaebae is, she is a TikTok fat activism creator, and a lot of her content surrounds like accessibility and stuff like that. Her biggest claim to fame, I guess, is she currently has a petition on change.org talking about how the FAA needs to accommodate their primarily plus size travelers, but she does mention like people with disabilities and stuff like that too, which we'll talk about. I have talked about, but I want to talk about it again. So I just wanted to go see what she was up to, and that's what we're going to be covering today. I got some TikToks pulled. I'm ready to talk about them. So yeah, let's just get into the video. But before we get into today's video, I want to thank today's video sponsor, Aura. Now, Aura is a longtime friend of the channel, and it is still something that I incorporate in my everyday life. If you don't know what it is, I should get to that. It is an all-in-one app for mental wellness and sleep that provides the world's largest mental wellness library and community. Over 7 million people choose Aura to find peace every day, and it has won the best of Apple in the Apple App Store. Now, like I said, Aura offers the most extensive library of mindfulness meditations, stories, sleep tracks, life coaching, breathwork, hypnosis, spirituality, and prayer, and like so much more. Instead of my usual like previous choices of listening to like true crime podcasts in the morning or at night, I now listen to Aura's meditations, affirmation sessions, or podcasts, because yes, they have podcasts too, in the morning or before I go to bed. And honestly, I've found that it helps just my overall being. If Aura sounds like something you are interested in, they are giving the first 500 people to click the link down below in my description a free trial and 25% off your subscription after the free trial ends. Thank you so much to Aura for being a continued partner on the channel, and as always, thank you so much to you guys for continuing to interact with my content so that brands like Aura want to keep working with me. All right, now let's get back into the video. So I have been doing not quite a bit, that's a lie. I have been doing some traveling this summer, mainly just to go home to Michigan. Like that's pretty much that's the only time I've gone traveling this summer. And the first time that I did that back in May, I actually wound up hurting my knee while I was home. And so to get back to Denver, I had to travel in an immobilizer brace, which if you don't know what that is, it's like a brace that covers your entire leg and makes it so that you can't like bend your leg. And as you can imagine, traveling with something like that on your leg was not a fun experience at all. I know this might sound stupid to people who have like disabilities who require like mobility aids and stuff like that, but it really like opened my eyes to how not fit travel is for people, or especially air travel is for people with disabilities who need some kind of like mobility aid or a brace or something like that. And so when all that was happening, I was always like, I wonder what Jaebae's up to. I'm just going to say this now, but I'll talk about it later. I really think that Jaebae is using Jaebae sounds, I think her name's Jalen. I really think that in her petition and in any content surrounding her petition, she uses the disabled community as like a crutch to kind of further her own agenda to make traveling more comfortable and more accessible for fat people. I think traveling is wildly uncomfortable for a lot of people, regardless of size or whatever, but especially with like size with tall people with really long legs, especially people with disabilities who require mobility aids and stuff like that. I think it's incredibly uncomfortable, and I don't disagree with the premise of the petition for that reason. Because even still, like, if you're a fat person traveling, like, people still have to get places, right? And so, like, and you can't lose 100 pounds overnight, because that's what, I mean, she has her comments turned off now, which I think is a choice for TikTok. But anyways, a lot of the comments before she had them turned off were like, I feel like something could change about this situation, which is true. And for me, not being able to fit into plane seats and stuff like that was a wake-up call for me to do something about my size and my weight and everything. So in case you haven't seen my last video on this situation, this kind of went viral last year. I'm just gonna read the petition here and then we'll go from there, because I found some TikToks that I want to talk about too. So it's called Demand the FAA to Protect Plus-Size Travelers. It says, air travel should be comfortable and accessible for everyone, regardless of size. As plus-size travelers, my partner and I have unfortunately experienced discrimination and discomfort while flying. During a flight from Pasco to Denver, my fiancé was subjected to hateful comments, disapproving looks, and even refusal to sit next to, amounting to discrimination. Similarly, on another flight, I was forced to occupy only one seat with immovable armrests. That caused me pain and bruises. Being forced to occupy only one seat can result in pain and vulnerability to poor treatment from fellow passengers, including hateful comments, disapproving looks, and even refusal to sit next to them. This mistreatment of plus-size passengers is unacceptable, and it highlights the urgent need for better policies that protect the dignity and rights of all passengers, regardless of size. Unfortunately, plus-size passengers often experience discomfort and discrimination when flying. The lack of uniform customer of size airline policy is unacceptable and must be addressed. The FAA should mandate that all airlines have a comprehensive customer of size policy that prioritizes the comfort and well-being of all passengers. This policy must have clear and inclusive guidelines on accommodating customers of size, including plus-size individuals, individuals with disabilities, tall individuals, and anyone who needs more space to be comfortable flying. This policy should also provide alternative seating arrangements, larger seats, and other size-accessible accommodations to ensure that all passengers can have a safe, comfortable, and enjoyable flying experience, while also being considerate of their fellow passengers. Here are some policies to ensure customers of size are accommodated and treated with respect while flying. Provide additional accessible seats. To ensure a safe and comfortable flying experience for all passengers, provide accessible additional seats to customers of size who require more physical space on planes or encroach onto another passenger's space. These passengers should be provided with an extra free seat or even multiple seats to accommodate their needs and ensure their comfort and safety, as well as those around them during the flight. Southwest Airlines and Canadian transportation carriers have set a precedent for policies like this by providing additional seats for those who physically require it. The ultimate goal is to provide a positive flying experience for all, which means prioritizing the comfort of those on board while ensuring safety for everyone. By implementing official customers of size policies, airlines can ensure that all passengers have a positive flying experience, regardless of their size or physical needs. 2. Reimbursement. Airlines should offer a refund for customers of size who purchase additional seats independently. This should be a straightforward process that can be accessed online or through customer service. This refund process should be an official written policy that is easily accessible for all passengers who purchase additional seats independently due to their size. 3. Clear communication. Airlines must create a set of policies, standards, and procedures for customers of size and communicate them in a clear, accessible, and easy to understand way. This should include information on booking additional seats, requesting a refund for those who purchased additional seats independently due to their size, and what to expect during check-in, boarding, and flight as a customer of size. 4, I think. Accommodations. A written procedure for airport assistance should be in place to ensure that customers of size can receive the necessary support they need. This should include what airport assistance options are available to customers of size and how to request assistance. Airlines should provide priority boarding to customers of size, as they may require more time and space to get to their seat and get situated comfortably. To accommodate larger passengers, airlines should also have larger lavatories, seatbelt extenders, and alternate seating arrangements. Lastly, the decision makers should consider requiring all new aircrafts to have a section of economy seats specifically reserved for customers of size that offer more room in terms of width and pitch. By implementing these accommodations, airlines can make air travel more comfortable and accessible for all passengers. And 5, employee training. Airlines and government agencies that regulate the airline industry must train all employees on how to accommodate customers of size. This training will teach staff how to use language that does not focus on a person's body size, shape, or abilities, but instead treats them with respect and dignity. It will also help employees understand how to assist customers who may be larger in size so they can have a comfortable and enjoyable travel experience without being discriminated against. The training should be required by both airlines and government agencies that regulate the airline industry and should cover a range of topics, including how to handle situations that may be sensitive or difficult, as well as providing good customer service to all travelers regardless of their size and abilities. The goal is to ensure that everyone feels welcome and supported when traveling, and that no one is made to feel uncomfortable or excluded because of their body size or abilities. As petitioners, we are also calling on the FAA to mandate that all new airplanes have at least one wheelchair-accessible lavatory. This change will improve accessibility for passengers of all sizes and abilities, allowing them to use the restroom comfortably and without difficulty. This will promote a more inclusive and accommodating travel experience, demonstrating the industry's commitment to serving all passengers equally. In addition to the lack of accessible lavatories on planes, the mistreatment and discrimination of customers of size during Transportation Security Administration (TSA) screenings is another major issue that must be addressed. To provide a safe and comfortable experience for all travelers, the TSA should implement clear guidelines for screening customers of size, train agents on how to respectfully interact with these travelers, offer sensitivity training, and provide accessible screening equipment. This time for the TSA to recognize the needs of travelers of all sizes and abilities, or it's time for the TSA to recognize the needs of travelers of all sizes and abilities to take action to ensure that they are treated with respect and dignity. By implementing these requirements, airlines will create a more inclusive and welcoming environment for all passengers, regardless of their size or abilities. It's time for the airline industry to take a stand and commit to creating a more inclusive and accommodating environment for all passengers. Join us in demanding that the FAA take action to protect plus-size travelers. So, I think it's really interesting, right, that in the structure of this petition, it's focused on plus size people, plus size people, plus size people, plus size people. And then sandwiched in there is something, sorry, my nose is like super runny. And then sandwiched in there is something that I think most people would agree with needs to change on airplanes. And that is the lack of accessible bathrooms, right? And like, again, with my stupid immobilizer brace, this is nothing compared to being in a wheelchair or anything like that. I just like didn't use the bathroom on the plane because I couldn't bend my leg and I knew I wouldn't be able to fit because I'm already like I'm 5'8", so I'm like taller, right? But like or 5'7 3/4, I don't know, but I'm taller and I already am like squished in those bathrooms. So I was like, there's no way this is not happening. And I just think it's really interesting that she is using like, it's like fat people, fat people, fat people, fat people, fat people, accommodate for people of size, accommodate for fat people, blah, blah, blah. And then it's like, boom, accessible bathrooms. And that is why I have an issue with the way that this petition is, or just like how it is written, or just the petition in general, because I don't disagree with this, right? I don't disagree with the fact that they are squishing us in like sardines on flights to make more money, and like that is just what it is. And there is the obvious rebuttal to this whole thing being like, okay, if you want to take away seats, like who's going to pay for like seats that it now is taking up, right? Because they're not going to make things cheaper. That's certainly not going to happen. I just think that it is like super clear just with how this is written, that like, and how this is laid out, that I feel that she's using the disabled community as a crutch to get people to sign this petition, because it does have now 39,323 signatures and the goal is 50,000. And a lot of the comments are saying, that I've seen anyway, are saying like, I'm signing this petition just because we need more room in general, or I'm signing this petition because I agree with like the wheelchair bit, or I'm signing this petition because I'm like 6'8" and like need more space, that kind of thing. It's not really, people aren't really signing it because of the like fat people aspect of it. Now knowing more about the origins of the fat activism movement that I do, and how a lot of fat liberation back in the 60s was formed from, I think it was called like the radical therapy movement. I've talked about it before in videos. This is just like such a prime example of how fat liberationists and fat acceptance people do still very much kind of subscribe to that. And if you don't know, that was like the idea that in order to heal, like the world and society had to start accommodating you, and you shouldn't have to change to like fit into society, right? And which in some aspects I agree with, but like in the aspect of your size just like making it more difficult to like maneuver the world, and it's your size and your size alone, that's more often than not changeable. And I don't like thinking of it that black and white, because I know it takes time and I know it takes a lot of mental stuff, right, to commit to losing weight and to lose weight. And after you've lost weight, it opens up a whole other can of worms mentally. It's not easy. And I understand that. I've been there, you know. At the end of the day, it is changeable. And if moving around the world is just becoming more and more difficult for you, you more often than not can do something about that to change it if it's just because of your weight. Anyways, so I have a whole video like going over this petition and like more of my thoughts on it and like how she uses the disabled community, further her argument and her agenda. Personally, I guess it's like, if it does get things changed for people who like actually have disabilities and stuff like that, then sure, great, whatever. But I just don't like how she's going about it. Anyways, I went to her TikTok and I wanted to talk about her TikTok a little bit because there are some things on here that like I don't like calling people just flat out liars. But I have a really hard time believing some of this, and I'll tell you why. But I'm going to show you two TikToks next to each other, okay?
This was right before the incident I'm about to tell you about. On the first leg of the trip, the wheelchair assistance completely failed us. I was left struggling to be okay. There is a video about the incident on my page. That experience was already stressful and humiliating enough, so by the time it was time to fly home, I decided to have my fiancé push me in the wheelchair to avoid any more mishaps. Picture this, me, a plus-size woman in a wheelchair, pushing my suitcase with one hand while my fiancé did their best to steer. It wasn't the easiest setup, but we were managing. As we were making our way through the terminal, we walked by a group of flight attendants. At first, I thought nothing of it, but then I heard the unmistakable sound of laughter, directed right at us. They didn't even try to hide it. They pointed, laughed, and made snide remarks, and one said, "What the actual fuck?" My heart sank. The sting of their mockery was intense. It's one thing to deal with stares and whispers, but outright laughter and public humiliation. It was too much. Nobody should be treated like this. Read the caption for more.
Okay, so this one came before the one that I just showed you. Sorry, I got them mixed up, but yeah.
Recently, I had a distressing experience at Chicago O'Hare Airport. As a plus-size ambulatory wheelchair user, I faced a significant challenge when trying to get to baggage claim. The only option was to go through a revolving door. We pressed the button to slow it down for people with disabilities, but as soon as we entered, we got stuck. I'm claustrophobic and began to panic, frantically motioning to the staff for help. They just stared at me, offering no assistance. A passerby noticed our struggle and tried to help, but the airport staff remained unresponsive. This was my second terrible experience at O'Hare during just one trip. The lack of assistance was not only frustrating but dehumanizing, highlighting the necessity for airport staff to treat travelers of all sizes and abilities with the respect and care they deserve.
These two were posted like back to back on her TikTok. And I understand that not every employee and stuff like that knows how to gracefully assist those with disabilities. My mom's disabled, so like I've experienced it. I get it. Like even some of my experiences traveling with my stupid brace, like were not great. And I understand that. But the fact that she's saying that these happen into like the wheelchair one, I kind of get, like I could see that happening, and that was the one that she posted first. But the one where she's talking about the flight attendants like openly laughing at her and saying what the actual fuck, I straight up just I don't believe that. Like, and I hate saying that. Like, I don't normally I try and approach things, as you all know, with more nuance and everything, but like I don't believe that happened, because like I don't know, and maybe somebody who travels more than I do can tell me otherwise, but like I have never met a flight attendant that was not willing to bend over backwards to make sure that I was comfortable and like good on my flight, and has never like treated, and I've never met a flight attendant that hasn't treated me with like the most kindness, right? And I've seen them. I've also never seen a flight attendant treat a fat person, I guess vitriol, ever. Like, and I've never seen that. And so like but I also don't travel a lot. So if you do, let me know if you have. But like, I just, I straight up don't believe that this happened. Maybe like something like this happened and she's like embellishing it to like make it more jarring for people. But I don't believe this happened. And again, she has comments turned off, so I can't tell if other people believe this happened or not. But again, I think this goes back to, if you don't like the way you are being treated by people, or you don't like the way you have to move about the world and society, and it's solely because of your weight, there's something you can do about that. And again, I know you can't do it overnight, and I know it's really hard, but there is something you can do about it. A big wake up call for me was, I kind of had this moment where I was like, Megan, what is the one thing in your life that you are truly unhappy with, and is like truly negatively affecting your life? And it was my weight. And so I decided something bigger had to be done than anything I'd tried before. So I got weight loss surgery. And like, again, that was like a years long process, but it worked and it helped. And I just don't believe that this happened. And I'm just saying that like straight up. I don't believe this happened. I also saw this one where she's talking about bathrooms on flights and talking about how small they are, which again is an interesting point of all the things she talked about to highlight on her TikTok, because again, I think that's like one of the main points from the petition that like everybody might agree, like could probably agree with, is that the bathrooms need to be bigger, or there needs to be an accessible bathroom, because like how the hell is someone who needs a wheelchair or something going to get to the bathroom? Especially if like you need a wheelchair to get around and then you can't take the wheelchair on the plane, and like so you physically cannot get up to go to the bathroom. That's something that I think about a lot, to be honest. I think knowing what I know about her and this petition and how she markets it and all that kind of stuff, I do think it's just a continuation of her bringing up other actually marginalized communities to further her own narrative. And that, as we all know, if you've been here before, you know, is my main issue with the fat activism movement. It's not that I don't think fat people aren't treated differently in society, because I know that we are. I say we because I still am a fat person. Like, I know that we are, but I just like, I hate that they bring up people who actually like cannot change anything about what makes them a marginalized person, to further their own narrative. And I really just think that Jaebae is lying about experiences and continuing to still do that with her content now. And when your weight is something that you can change, and I think when you can't do certain things that you want to do, you should make a change so that you can do it. And she also has other content about like seatbelt extenders in ride shares, and how she thinks all ride shares should be required to have seatbelt extenders. And she also has more other content about how every public pool should have to have a railing, which I think they have to already. I don't know. But yeah, so she's definitely bringing in other forms of accessibility to gain traction on TikTok, which I think is ultimately, one, to make her money probably, and then two, to get more eyes on this petition. I will say, in regards to you can change it if you don't like something about your life, she also has been posting a lot of videos. I mean, maybe not a lot, but like quite a few videos of her like out partying and like drinking like big sugary beverages. And like, first of all, why would you do that to yourself? Because everybody knows that the main reason that you wake up feeling like absolute ass the next morning is usually because of the amount of sugar in your drinks the night before. But also, like, I don't know why that made me uncomfortable to see, but like it did. And like, I know that might be some weight like bias that I have, but it's just like, if you're already, and I drank a lot because I was in college. I drank a lot when I was at my heaviest, but like, I don't know, there's just, and I, now looking back on that, I'm like, Megan, what the hell were you doing? Like, you were already so unhealthy, and like, you were adding like so much alcohol on top of that, and it's just like, ugh, I don't know. But it's like, clearly she's not trying to do anything to change anything to make herself more comfortable, so she's just relying on other people to do it, and she's relying on the disabled community to further her own agenda. I know this video might be kind of rambly. I have been, again, going through stuff, but I am back. So I just wanted to talk about this because I'd been thinking about it for a while after having my own traveling experience in a brace and everything like that. Leave your comments down below of what you think about this situation. And yeah, I will see you in the next one. Thank you so much to Aura for sponsoring today's video. Remember to go down and be one of the first 500 people to click the link in my bio to get a free trial and then 25% off your subscription after your trial ends. Once again, let me know what you think down below. And remember, I'm gonna go now, and I'm gonna go drink some coffee because my brain is tired. But yeah, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, drink your water, take your meds if you need them, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.